If you want a second chance after your breakup, then odds are you're focused on one thing, your ex. But if you really want to make it happen, one of the best things you can do is to start dating new and different people. This can honestly be one of the most effective strategies for getting your ex back, depending on your situation. Before we begin, I'm Brad Browning, author of the best-selling X Factor program and YouTube's #1 breakup coach for the past 11 years now. Now, when I'm helping a client reconnect with an ex, I always tell them that they need to get out there and date again if they really want to improve their chances of getting back together. Now, this is totally counterintuitive to most people, but it really does work. But more than that, people really don't want to date anyone else after a breakup, for obvious reasons. They want their ex and only their ex. They think that this will split their focus, and they're afraid that they'll scare their ex off. But if and when they put aside their concerns and they actually take my advice, they inevitably find that it draws their ex back to them like a magnet. Now, let me explain why this works in a minute, but first I'll talk about when you should use this strategy and when you shouldn't. And that really depends on your situation and also on your ex's personality. Because basically, if your ex was a very jealous person in the relationship, then this is going to work for you. These are the people who get possessive over you and will get angry if you talk to an attractive member of the opposite sex. But remember, now that you're broken up, they can't blame you for moving on. The only person that they can be angry at is themselves, and usually they will. Often just the sight of you with someone new is going to make them realize that they can't be without you anymore. And really, the same goes if your ex is stubborn. Because stubborn people, they often hate to admit when they made a mistake or admit that they want you back. So they could hold on to this feeling forever and never act onto it just because they value their own pride over their happiness. But when they get the sense that you're moving on, this can often tip the scales and actually compel them to try to win you back. And dating somebody new is also going to help you win back somebody who thinks very highly of themselves. Now, this isn't very common, but sometimes people will, sort of date down, meaning that they'll date someone that they feel isn't in their league. And people do this for a lot of reasons, but essentially what it boils down to is they think that they could do better. But when they see you with a new, attractive person on your arm, then they're going to realize that they misjudged you and potentially beg you for another chance. Now, a lot of people will say that you shouldn't use this strategy in a long-distance relationship or with your long-distance ex. Basically, how will this make any difference to your ex if they have no way of knowing that you're dating again? But the truth is, this will work, even if your ex is in another country or on another continent, and even if they have no idea that you're doing it, because this strategy really isn't just about making your ex jealous. I'll explain more about that in a second, but first, there's a few situations where you shouldn't date after a breakup. Now, the first one is if you and your ex are still in limbo, if your relationship status is still up in the air, then you do usually want to avoid this strategy. That's because, your ex could see it as cheating or as you signaling to them that the relationship really is over. So unless your ex has officially ended the relationship and it's been a few weeks, then probably best not to adopt this strategy. And the same goes for situations where you broke up with them. Now, in this kind of situation, in this case, they don't want you back because you hurt their pride. They now don't know if you really want them, if they can trust you, and what your true intentions are. So dating somebody new will show them that they're not your first choice, I should say, and that you're exploring other options, which is really not the message that you want to be sending in this case. And finally, if you cheated on them, definitely don't date anyone else during this time apart, especially not the person you cheated on them with. Obviously, this should be a no-brainer, but I do get asked this question a lot. If you did break up due to cheating, then I'd suggest you watch my previous video on this exact topic that I'll link up here in the pop-up and in the description below. Okay, for now, let's move on and let's talk about how dating somebody new actually helps you get your ex back. So remember, if you want your ex back, your goal is to draw them to you without them being aware of it. You want them to think about you and yearn for you. And dating actually achieves all of this and more. Because first off, it creates jealousy in your ex. If your ex hears that you're out on a date with somebody new, somebody exciting after the breakup, then that's going to obviously fill them with a powerful jealousy that's going to force them to think about you. Now, you'd be surprised how much this will affect your ex, even if they seem like they aren't the jealous type. So many of my clients tell me that their formerly cold exes reached out to them basically as soon as they knew they were dating a new person. And secondly, it makes them worry about losing you. Now, this is the big reason that dating after a breakup works. When you dump somebody, there's a little part of you that feels like you can always get that person back if you change your mind. And when you see them dating again, it makes you realize that you're wrong, that they're moving on and you need to act now if you want another chance. And this, along with the jealousy that it brings as well, is often enough to make your ex come running back to you. And thirdly, it upends their expectations. See, after your breakup, your ex expects you to be crushed. Most people in your situation are devastated. They spiral into depression, unhealthy habits, and frequent crying. But by getting out there and dating again after the breakup, you're showing your ex that you're different. And they're going to wonder, how is he or she doing so well? Maybe they're stronger than I thought. Or maybe I'm just not worth crying over. If you can make them feel this way, then they'll be desperate to get you back. But this isn't just about how it affects your ex, because it actually has an even more powerful effect on you. So for one, dating after a breakup can change your mindset dramatically. Because right now you're probably, laser focused on getting your ex back. You probably think about them 100 times a day, wondering just, how you can change their mind about breaking up. What's the perfect paragraph you can send to them that will make them realize that you really are the love of their life? Well, the truth is, the more pressure you put on you and your ex, the less likely it is that you're going to get them back. You really need to chill out, take a step back and look at things from a macro view. Really, you want your ex back because you want to be happy. Somewhere along the way, you lost your faith in your ability to make yourself happy without your ex. But you can do it. You were probably happy before your ex, and you can be happy without them. And dating somebody new is just one way to enjoy life without your ex. There are other people out there who are interested in you and who like you. And you have the ability to connect with other people so you don't have to go chasing after your ex. And on top of that, it can also give you a huge boost of confidence. Being desired by another person really can work wonders for your self-esteem. And while I understand dating is difficult, it's also exciting. And a successful date can really make you feel on top of the world, but even a less successful date will help you in the long run. It'll show you that you can get dressed up, go out and have a nice time with a good-looking stranger. It'll show you that life does go on after a breakup, and even just knowing that, realizing that, will change your perspective for the better. Now, that's of course not to say that getting your ex back is a bad choice. But if you can, adopt this mindset, then you'll be choosing your ex rather than treating them like your only option. It is a subtle distinction, but it's one that can make all the difference. But now, is your ex going to choose you? Well, I've put together a free 5-minute quiz over at breakupbrad.com/quiz that will show you your chances of getting back together with your ex. Now, these are the first questions that I ask my clients when they sign up for my program, and I can tell straight away, based on their answers, whether or not they do have a chance with their ex. Again, you can take that quiz for free at breakupbrad.com/quiz. Now back to it, how should you go about dating after your breakup? Well, simply put, I'd recommend you start with dating apps. Even if you never go out, matching with people will just give you a great boost. In fact, dating apps really are the best option here because it's going to limit complications. And what I mean by that is, if you get your friends or mutual friends to set you up with somebody, then this person is still going to be in your life. Once you and your ex are back together, you really don't want them popping up at a random gathering and causing drama. And I'm also sure that I don't have to tell you not to go after your ex's friends. Obviously, this will make your ex jealous, but it's also going to probably make them hate you. So obviously, avoid that. Now, when it comes to apps, you know how to make this happen. Put together a profile, get some matches, have a few conversations, and if any sparks fly, then just set up a date. Now, maybe you're wondering, how is your ex going to know if you're dating? Well, first of all, this really shouldn't be a big priority right now. As I've said, there are benefits here even if your ex never finds out that you're dating again. But it is a good idea to give your ex the sense that you are seeing people who aren't them. Now, you do need to be very subtle here, or it's going to be way too obvious to your ex. If they can tell that you're trying to let them know that you're dating again, then they're not going to be as jealous as they would, if they felt that they figured it out for themselves. So don't just come up and tell them that you're dating again. Don't drop, overly obvious hints, and don't tell their best friend. All this kind of thing is just going to be way too obvious, and it's going to end up working against you. The best case scenario here is really that they find out on their own, which honestly is very likely in most cases. So maybe you drop a hint to a mutual friend, post something ambiguous on social media, or just happen to get spotted at a popular restaurant. In any case, as I've said, don't make this your number one priority. Just focus on getting some dates and having fun. But I do have a couple words of warning here. I think it can be easy to get caught up in the idea of dating somebody new to make your ex jealous without actually really considering the feelings of that other person you're dating. Now, this obviously is understandable. You have a lot going on right now, but you should take them into consideration as well. Not only because it's the right thing to do, but because if you don't, it can have negative consequences for the relationship with your ex. Basically, just make it clear that you just got out of a serious relationship and you're not looking for anything serious. You don't need to make any big proclamations, promises, plans for the future. Obviously, it should go beyond a simple hookup, but you don't want to start, a serious relationship or anything like that. So just try to find the sweet spot. And if you do fail to take this into consideration, not only are you going to hurt this person, but they could react badly and get really upset. Obviously, that could create drama, and that could affect people in your life, and ultimately, your ex could get wind of it and be scared off. So I do recommend, you be honest and open in your communication with whomever you're dating. Now, I also say often that, living with your ex is a bad idea, but I know some people don't have a choice here. So if you are still living with your ex, please do not bring a date back to your place and hang out. And obviously, don't hook up with somebody that you're dating at your shared place with your ex, because there's a fine line between making your ex jealous and just rubbing it in their face. All right, that's about all for this one, ladies and gentlemen. Please leave your comments below. I promise I try to read and reply to every single comment on my videos. And thanks, of course, also for liking and subscribing. Thanks for watching, and best of luck out there.